We're closing in on the final stretch, and you guys know the deal. We're talking men's and women's hoops here at Virginia Tech as we welcome you into the Moss Art Center here in Blacksburg, Virginia for another edition of the 3304 Sports Tip-Off Show. I'm Colby Crawford, joined alongside Phoebe Winters and Hayden Talbert. And guys, is it just me or has this season flown by?
No, honestly, I can't believe we're already in the final weeks of the season. It seems like just yesterday they were going against Coppin State for that opening win. But yeah, no, I feel like this season has really flown by. It's been great to see how they've kind of come together as a team and are really starting to get back on that winning track.
Yeah, and of course, two different sides for the men's and women's. Women's have been dominant, of course, battle tested at the beginning of the year with LSU and Iowa, but also, Virginia Tech, the men's, they've had an up and down year, seesaw of emotion for Hokie fans.
Now, sticking with the men's team, since we last got you up to date here on the Tip-Off Show, they went down to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, lost 96-81 to a great UNC team ranked number 7 at the time. But then that Monday night, quick turnaround, a drubbing, beating their in-state rival 75-41. Phoebe, not many people really anticipated this Coach Young squad going and doing that to a quad one, really good UVA team. What was working for Coach Young and the Hokies?
Yeah, no, this was definitely an upset win. I think what really worked for this team is that they came out onto the court ready to go, really got a running head start. I mean, going 20-0 in the first 9 minutes is what really solidified this win for Tech. Because as we've seen, UVA really struggles to come back from behind. So once they were at that 20-0 mark, they really could not bring it back. I think also being able to win that rebound battle really helped this Virginia Tech squad. That's one of UVA's skills, is getting those rebounds. So since Tech was kind of beating them to it, they were really able to shine. I think also what stood out was that Sean Padula looked very calm against one of the best defensive squads in the ACC. So being able to keep his head on his shoulders and really lead his team, I think really helped this squad.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned Sean Padula, Hunter Couture. It was a big win that wasn't really expected. But who are some of those other players that stepped up in this kind of stretch for the Hokies that maybe you're not the usual suspects?
Yeah, of course, the three guys I think of, Barron, Nickel, and Collins. Nickel is, picked up in his last 4 games. He's dropping 10 or more points and shooting 42% from the three. And Robbie Barron has worked in different aspects. He tallied 13 points and 3 blocks in this big UVA win, but also was a bright spot in a loss against in South Bend against Notre Dame with 13 boards. And then, of course, MJ Collins, dropping more than 10 points against Blue Bloods like Duke and UNC, but, not getting that win yet for the Hokies, though.
I mean, it was a much different result than they had just a couple of weeks ago in Charlottesville and JPJ. Now, Hayden, the Hokies sit at 15-11, 7-8 in conference play. With 5 games left, do you think they have a shot at the tournament, or do you think they got to win out in the ACC, or do you think they can convince the committee with their resume?
I do. I was looking at net rankings, and they're right outside 50 with UVA at 48, I believe, of yesterday. And so, that really gets to UVA fans. Obviously they have games coming up against Wake Forest and Pittsburgh. It's going to be away against 2, ACC Player of the Year candidates with Blake Henson, and then Hunter Salas is going to be home. So they're going to depend on, the Castle Guard to help them out. But if they can win these 5 games and make a deep run in the tournament and hopefully get a championship win in the ACC tournament in the nation's capital, then, automatic bid.
I definitely agree with Hayden. Maybe I'm just an eternal optimist, but I think if they are able to win these next 5 games, just because they are conference teams, they're not too far behind Syracuse or Pitt or even NC State. So I think these next 5 games are going to be very important for Virginia Tech. And I think if they can pull out the win in these 5 games, then I think they do have a shot. Obviously, they're going to have to really perform in the ACC tournament, but I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Great stuff, y'all. Now for more ACC tournament talk and analysis on the big Commonwealth Clash triumph, we have Braden Shank on standby.
There's no question that when it comes to Virginia Tech men's basketball, public enemy number 1 is the Wahoos of Virginia. And Monday night, the Hokies reclaimed the Commonwealth with a 75-41 victory of Virginia inside of Cassell Coliseum. That's a 34-point margin of victory for all you math people at home. That margin Monday night was a record book feat for Virginia Tech. The last time the Hokies beat UVA by a margin that big was all the way back on February 18th, 1961. That was back when Chuck Noah was the head coach at Virginia Tech and Chris Smith and Bucky Keller were the Hokies' leading scorers. Okay, if those names don't ring a bell, well, no worries. To put that into context, the last time the Hokies beat UVA by a margin that big, JFK was still in his first month in the White House. The original West Side Story movie was in the post-production phase, and the cost of a McDonald's hamburger was just 15 cents. A different world compared to today. But what's not different is Virginia Tech's continuing production on both sides of the rock. On the offense, Malijal Poteet and Lynn Kidd combined for 25 points and 9 rebounds from the post. And then from the field, Tyler Nickel and Robbie Barron had 13 points apiece. An offensive field day for Virginia Tech. And that's not all. It gets better. The defense showed up in a big way, holding UVA to just 41 points, the lowest total from the Cavs against Techs since 1941. In the first meeting between these two, it was the Reese Beekman and Jordan Miner show, who both had 16 points in a UVA win at JPJ. Monday night, the Hokies D held Beekman and Miner to just 12 points combined. Now, this win was a big momentum boost for Virginia Tech. They still have 5 games remaining before the ACC tournament in the nation's capital in 3 weeks' time, and sit currently as the 10th seed in the tournament. And no, that extra digit on the seed is just more than a number. Being the 10th seed means the Hokies would need to play in all 5 days of the tournament to win the conference, compared to getting a bye with seeds 9 and lower. But hey, Virginia Tech won the tournament in 2022 as a 7 seed, so sometimes Cinderella stories happen. Virginia Tech still has to play Pitt, Wake Forest at home, and Syracuse. All 3 teams ahead of Tech in the standings. So coming down the stretch, every game is pivotal for Virginia Tech. But one thing is known. If this groundbreaking performance from Mike Young's crew on Monday against UVA repeats in the coming games, the Hokies will be lethal entering D.C. Guys?
Thanks, Braden, for the report. With the men's team hanging on by a thread for their postseason eligibility, the women's team has all the momentum in the world. You have the usual suspects of Kitley and Amor setting the world on fire. But Hayden, how about those role players stepping up big?
Yeah, Matilda Eck, Olivia Sumnall, and Kayla Kent have been dogs. As you know, Eck has obviously shooting 44% from the field this season, and then Sumnall, getting boards against Louisville, which is 7, and 11 against Boston College. Of course, Kayla King is gonna be that 3-point threat always when it comes to big games. So these opposing teams are gonna fear the Hokies going into the tournament and then the rest of the season.
Yeah, big win against Louisville on Sunday. Now, Phoebe, I'll give you the layup here, kind of snaking back to the big 2 of Elizabeth Kitley as well as Georgia Amor. What have they done to consistently elevate this team and really get on a big momentum down the stretch when you need it most?
I think what's honestly been working for these two is their chemistry with one another. I mean, they've been playing together for a while now. They really know each other's games very well. I mean, how many times have we watched Amor give Kitley that no-look pass this season? I think the pride that they have in their team, they're honestly like a pride pack, those two. They really want to elevate their new up-and-coming members, and they're really there for each other when the other needs them. They've been very supportive of one another. I think also just that talent that they have. They've been here before. They have the confidence. They know what to do to get it done. I think they're just at a really good spot with this team, with each other, with their coach. They know what they need to do. They have that chemistry with one another, and now it's just about making it happen on the court.
Yeah, Kenny Brooks cites all the times the importance of last postseason and how they got to this point and knowing what to do. But with more on the Red Hot Hokies and their big win in the KFC Yum Center, we have our very own hotshot, Tucker Terry.
It has now been over a month since the Virginia Tech women's basketball team lost in what was a 63-46 defeat at the hands of the Duke Blue Devils on January 18th. Since then, the Hokies redeemed their loss with a home win against the Blue Devils, as well as picking up impressive road wins at 3 top 20 teams in the nation in Syracuse, NC State, and Louisville. To put these road wins into perspective, these 3 teams are a combined 39-0 in home games against anyone other than the Hokies, but are just 0-3 when facing Virginia Tech. Against Louisville specifically, the Hokies played as well as they ever have, shooting over 65% from the field and getting massive double-doubles from their All-American duo of Elizabeth Kitley and Georgia Amor on their way to an 86-70 victory over the Cardinals in the KFC Yum Center. If this February hot streak feels like deja vu to anyone else, that is because anyone who paid attention to the Hokies last season has seen this movie before. Last year, Virginia Tech lost to Duke near the end of January before rattling off a 15-game winning streak, including massive wins over NC State, Louisville, and a redemption game over, you guessed it, Duke. This run included their first ever ACC tournament championship and Final Four appearance. Now, The Hokies return from a much-deserved bye week this Sunday to play another blue blood. This time, the North Carolina Tar Heels on a very special afternoon in Cassell Coliseum. College game day is coming to Blacksburg on senior night in what could be the final regular season home game for Georgia Amoore and what is certainly the last for the greatest player in program history, Elizabeth Gitley. This is only the 9th time College game day has ever come to a women's basketball game, and it is the first time for any team in the ACC. Sunday is an incredible opportunity to celebrate the program Kenny Brooks has built, celebrate the seniors and all they have accomplished, and for the Hokies to remain in the driver's seat of the ACC as they prepare for another magical run in March. Guys.
Thanks, Tuck. Now, big weekend here in Blacksburg. We got wrestling tonight, then big College game day on Sunday. What is the vibe like around the town? College game day coming to town.
I think everyone in town is super excited. I mean, we've got the ESPN Women's Game Day squad coming into town. I'm personally very excited to see these lovely ladies take the stage. But yeah, I think everyone in town is just really excited to continue to cheer on our team as the season is kind of wrapping up. It's going to be a good game for sure. There's going to be a great crowd. You know, maybe another sellout in Cassell. Who knows?
But yeah, it's going to be a storybook ending. Of course, a fun fact is, Virginia Tech has had game day for football, men's basketball, and women's basketball. The only two schools that have matched that is LSU and Tennessee. So it's a pretty big achievement for Hokie fans so they can get excited about. But of course, this is, like I said, a storybook ending, senior night for these girls, and they're going to show out.
Like you said, the Castle Guard will surely be out in droves. But much like this season, the show is wrapping on up. For our reporters, Tucker Terry and Braden Shank, my good friends at the desk, Phoebe Winters and Hayden Talbert, I'm Colby Crawford saying so long from the Moss Art Center. Make sure to check out the first tip-off show coming out later today as well. And we'll see you next time on the 3304 Sports Tip-Off Show. Have a great one.